Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be complaining. Just kidding. No, but today we're going to talk about the reality that truckers, owner operators, small carriers had to deal with and what they are doing, what they're dealing with every single day in order to stay afloat in a market that seems too stubborn to show any significant positive change. Now, this video was inspired by an Overdrive article that came out recently, and I think it's high time to make a dedicated video discussing what truckers are actually going through when trying to manage their business. Ready? Let's go. So just this week, on Tuesday, the ATRI, or the American Transportation Research Institute, published a report regarding the costs of running a trucking business. What did they find? Well, as of 2024, including fuel price, right? Including the price of fuel, the average cost of operating a truck was $2.26 per mile, which was about a 0.4% drop from 2023. However, we have to remember that fuel costs in 2024 were lower than those in 2023. So when they recalculated and removed the lower fuel costs in 2024, they found that the marginal operating expenses actually increased by 3.6% to $1.78 per mile. And this is without fuel. And this, as Overdrive states, and I'm going to quote it, these are the highest costs ever recorded by ATRI for non-fuel operating costs. So let's go through this and let's see what increased. So you're going to see a chart right here, and we have the cost type, the year 2023 versus 2024, the increase and decrease in dollar amounts, and then the percentage of increase versus decrease from 2023 to 2024. Fuel decreased by 13% year over year. Truck and trailer payments increased by 8.33% year over year. Repair and maintenance decreased by almost 2% year over year from 2023 to 2024. Truck insurance increased 3.03%. Permits and licenses stayed the same. Tires increased by 2.17%. Tolls increased by 11.76%. Driver wages increased by 2.44%. Driver benefits increased by 4.79%. So the total with fuel in 2023 was $2.27 per mile. That was the cost. In 2024, because fuel decreased, the total cost was $2.26 per mile. But the moment you remove the fuel from the calculation, because fuel did decrease, you see that from 2023 to 2024, the increase was about 6 cents per mile, or 3.61% in marginal operating costs. So that wasn't good enough for me. I decided to calculate what the profit would look like comparing those 2 years. So what I did was I took the cost, the average cost of operating with fuel for 2023 and 2024, according to ATRI. Then I looked up historical data for the month of July in 2023 and 2024 for the three main equipment types: dry vans, reefers, and flatbeds. Now, what you're going to see here is the cost. Then the dry van, reefer, and flatbed have two items: the average rate per mile for 2023 and 2024, and the average profit or loss per mile considering the cost with fuel for those years. Now, then I assumed that about 10,000 miles are driven each month, and you're going to see the profit right here. So for dry van, it went from negative 2,200 to negative 3,100. Reefer was 1,700 for both years, and flatbed is 1,200 in 2023 and 1,400 in 2024 for 10,000 miles, which is basically, this is the profit or loss for the month. But something we have to remember is that the average rate per mile that we see right here, it includes a lot of the short loads, the ones that are like 100 miles but pay like $4 or $5 per mile. So the reality is, if we factor in the fact that a carrier who has a driver is probably going to try to get them the miles if they're a good carrier, or they are going to end up losing the driver, that means that we're assuming that this carrier is booking loads that are longer than 100, 200 miles, right? And as the miles grow, the rate per mile decreases. So the rate per mile that you see right here is the best case scenario in terms of an average. The reality is the rate per mile is much lower if we factor in those long loads. And that means that the reality in terms of profits is that many carriers are operating at a loss every single month. Now, what about 2025? Is there data? Yes, there is some data according to the ATRI. So ATRI has data for January and February of 2025, and this is what they found compared to 2024. Every single cost except for tires has seen an increase year over year. Tires are down by 4.7% as of February. We don't know whether this is still true, but take a look at those costs. Insurance premiums, 5.8% increase. Tolls, 4.3% increase. I mean, it is insane. The costs keep growing. So for those people who make stereotypes about truckers being mean, or everyone is being negative in this industry, or Miranda's channel is just doom and gloom, this is the reality. At the end of the month, an owner operator, a carrier who has drivers that they're paying, they are left with the bare minimum in the best case. In the worst, they're paying for the privilege of owning a trucking business. So yeah, I just wanted to share this data with you guys. Many of you, I would say almost 100% of you who are in the trucking industry know exactly what is going on. You're very aware of your experiences, and you know that everything was increasing in cost and that profits were hard to come by. But when you see the data, I feel like it's such a jolting thing. I don't know. I'm speaking from experience. I felt the industry, right? I see my numbers at the end of the month. I see how we're doing in terms of the trucking company. But when you see it, and even though you know that this is the reality of the industry, seeing the numbers and the data and then crunching the numbers, it's like, holy crap. Anyway, guys, wishing you all a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.